Alright people, so welcome to Jumbo IAS and welcome to UPSC Prelims Phoenix batch. In this batch, we revise the entire syllabus for UPSC Prelims examination. That includes both static as well as current affairs. Now this lecture is related to the static portion, and in static portion we are currently going through ancient medieval history and culture. Now today is the last lecture for this topic. After that we'll begin with modern history, okay? But today is last lecture for ancient medieval history and culture, that is day 12. And today's topics or targets were Bhakti and Sufi movement and some miscellaneous topics with respect to classical dances and all. Okay, now the thing is that I'm hoping that you have already gone through the notes. The notes were provided from these topics were provided to you well in advance. So I'm hoping that you have already gone through the notes and then you are sitting for this lecture, because through this, if you'll follow this routine, well, you would have revised this topic at least 2 times. Well, number 1, when you read the notes, and number 2, through this lecture. Okay, so let's start with revision number 2 from Bhakti and Sufi movement for Bhakti and Sufi movement through a set of 30 MCQs. All right, so without further introduction, let's straight away dive into the lecture. Let's begin. So AMC day 12, and today's targets were Bhakti and Sufi movement. Okay, so let's start with question number 1. So question 1. Which one of the following is correctly matched? Advaitvad, Ramanujan, Vishishtadvaitvad, Shankaracharya, Dvaitvad, Madhavacharya, Advait, Vallabhacharya. Now listen to me very carefully. Okay. Well, there is a particular category of philosophy called Vedant philosophy. Okay. Vedant philosophy is the highest possible philosophy associated with Vedas. Okay. Vedant philosophy believed that, well, nothing is true. Basically, God is one supreme formless God called Brahman, okay, which is the universal soul, and each of us have individual soul, which is Atman. Brahman, the universal soul, you can call it God, and then Atman. Now, what is the relationship between Brahman and Atman? Because of this relationship, well, there are different versions, different theory. First of all, Vedant philosophy completely believes that this is the reality. There is a universal soul, Brahman, and individual souls, Atman. Okay? On this point, well, all Vedant philosophies agree. But based on the relationship between the two, well, there are different variations. Okay? So the first is Advaitvad. Advait simply means that there is a universal soul and there is individual soul, but there is no difference between the two. Universal soul, Brahman, and Atman are one and the same thing. So the Atma within us is also part of the God. There is one reality, that is Advait. And who gave Advait? Well, Advait was given by Shankaracharya. Okay. Then came Vishishtadvait. VA, let's call it. This was an advanced version. This said that yes, well, Atma is part of Brahman. There is Atman, there is Brahman, and there is Advaitvad. But Atma is part of Brahman. It is kind of like the limbs of Brahman. Okay. So in a way, there is a difference between Brahman and Atman. But it is, well, you can say that Atman is part of Brahman, but there is a difference. So this was given by Ramanujan. So first 2 statements are false. Then came Dvait, which said there is a difference. Atma and Brahman are fundamentally different. This was given by Madhavacharya. Okay, so this is correct. Then came Advaitvad, which said that no, well, yes, they two are different, but Atma is dependent on Brahman. This was given by Vallabhacharya. Sorry, not Vallabhacharya, I'm sorry, Nimbarka. Okay, this is false. Then came Shuddhadvait, which was given by Vallabhacharya, and then came Achintya Bhed Abhed, which was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, about whom we'll talk in subsequent MCQs. Nonetheless, as far as this question is concerned, Advait was given by Shankaracharya, Vishishtadvait Ramanuja, Dvait was given by Madhavacharya, Advait was given by Nimbarka. So only C is correct. Okay, make sense? All right. Next, consider the following statements. Bijak is a composition of teachings of Saint Daddu Dayal. Philosophy of Pushti Marg was propounded by Madhavacharya. Okay. So Bijak is basically a composition of teachings of Saint Kabir, not Daddu Dayal. So first statement is false. Okay. Now the policy of Pushti Marg or the philosophy of Pushti Marg was propounded by Madhavacharya. Now Madhavacharya gave what? Dvaitvad. The philosophy of Pushti Marg was given by Vallabhacharya, who propounded Shuddha Dvait. Okay, what was Pushti Marg? Pushti Marg, well, is the path towards God, extreme bhakti towards God. Okay, so this philosophy or the teachings of Pushti Marg was given by Vallabhacharya, who propounded Shuddha Dvait. Madhavacharya gave Dvait. So this is also false. The answer is D, neither 1 nor 2. Okay, next. Under the following statements, consider the following statements. Saint Nimbarka was a contemporary of Akbar. Okay. Saint Kabir was greatly influenced by Sheikh Ahmad Sirhandi. So Nimbarka was not a contemporary of Akbar. He came way before Akbar in 13th century around. Okay. You remember Saint Nimbarka? Saint Nimbarka gave Dvait Advait. So he was not a contemporary of Akbar. Saint Kabir was greatly influenced by Sheikh Ahmad Sirhandi. So Sheikh Ahmad Sirhandi came way later than Kabir. Here, and Sheikh Ahmad Sirhandi, well, Kabir is associated with Bhakti, Sheikh Ahmad Sirhandi is associated with Sufi. So this is also false. Again, the answer would be D. Alright, next. Select the chronological order of Bhakti saints. Now, Kabir, Guru Nanak, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mirabai. Now, the thing is, most of these Bhakti saints were also contemporaries. Okay, they lived along with each other. I mean, they didn't know each other personally, but they were born, or their life crossed paths. In a sense, they were alive when others were alive. But if we have to arrange them in chronological order, then we have to arrange them in chronological order of their birth. Okay, so first was Kabir, Saint Kabir, then Guru Nanak Dev Ji, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in the end Mirabai. Okay, most of them, well, were alive at the same time, but if we take a look at their birth year, so this is the chronological order. Okay, the answer would be A. Right, next. Consider the following Bhakti saints: Daddu Dayal, Guru Nanak, Tyagraj. Who among the above were preaching when the Lodi dynasty fell and Babur took over? Now, when is this period? This was 1526, when Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi. Right? Now, in this period, well, Guru Nanak Dev Ji was alive. He was a contemporary, but not Daddu Dayal. They came later. Tyag came later. Okay? So, the answer would be only 2. Okay? Next. Given below are 2 statements, one labeled as assertion, the other is reason. Let's take a look. So, assertion: the sponsor and the most prominent figure of Chishti order of Sufis in India is Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti. Okay? The Chishti order takes its name from a village Chishti in Ajmer. Now, look, there were many Sufi orders, different forms, like there were different categories of Bhakti saints. One were Vaishnavs, the other were Shaivites, right? So similarly, there were different Sufi orders also. Okay, different categories of Sufi. One was and these categories were called silsilas. Okay, now the Chishti silsila, the founder of Chishti silsila, or from where basically it became a thing, was Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti. He was the most prominent figure of the Chishti Sufis. He started this silsila in 1192. Now, why is it called Chishti? Because it began from a region called Chisht, which is in Afghanistan, okay, or above Afghanistan. We call it Khorasan province during the medieval times. Chisht. Chisht is not in Ajmer. Alright. So A is true, but R is false. Okay. Next. Match list 1 and list 2 and select the correct answer from the codes given below. List 1 is the Sufi saints and list 2 is the silsila they belong to. So Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti, we have already discussed. He belonged to Chishti silsila. Okay. Sheikh Ahmad Sirhandi, okay, which the previous question said that, well, he learned a lot from Kabir. Well, he was Naqshbandi silsila. Dara Shikoh, the favorite son of Shah Jahan, was a follower of Qadri silsila. And Sheikh Shahabuddin was Suharwardi. He belonged to Suharwardi silsila. So it is 3, 4, 2, 1. C. Alright, next. Sheikh Bahaddin